Pool likely to pick from within. We take you back now to February 22nd, 1991, a day that Liverpool fans of a certain age will never forget. Alan Hansen is football's favourite to follow Kenny Dalglish out of the dressing room and into the Anfield hot seat. Ronnie Moran, placed in caretaker command, may be the bookmaker's choice, as they tip Liverpool to revert to the boot room tradition. But the game's insiders and a flood of fans on Merseyside are backing the champions to follow the same path they trod with Dalglish and install the 35-year-old former Scottish international. Phil Thompson, the 37-year-old former captain, who is now, very successfully, the Liverpool reserve team coach, has also emerged as a surprisingly strong contender. If they decide against the in-house tradition, which has survived since the appointment of Bill Shankly in 1959, former players Graham Souness, John Toshak and Phil Neal are the punters' tips to cash in on the successful managerial reputations they have built elsewhere. But Liverpool-born Steve Coppell, who followed the club as a youngster and then played for the current Anfield chairman Noel White at Tranmere Rovers, may be the surprise choice. White has remained a fan of his through his outstanding achievements as Crystal Palace manager. Kevin Keegan and Emlyn Hughes, neither of whom managed to transform playing success beyond retirement, are rated rank outsiders, along with Terry Venables and Jack Charlton. Moran is a first-hand inheritor of the tradition inspired by Shankly. Having been with the club since 1949, he has drilled Liverpool on the training ground to 26 major titles. But for a long time, he has happily accepted the mantle of right-hand man to a succession of managers. That seemed to have counted against him almost 6 years ago, when Liverpool turned to the more determined younger man. Now, just 5 days short of his 57th birthday, there will be many at Anfield who fear Moran is too old for any second thoughts, certainly on a long-term basis. Bookmakers William Hill still make him Evans' favourite, while Ladbrokes refuse to open a book, explaining the appointment of Ronnie Moran to look after team affairs is very much in the Liverpool tradition, and he may be there for some time. Hansen is generally a 7-2 second favourite, reflecting the respect he has earned at Anfield as club captain. Along with Neil, he shares the record for 8 championship medals. Roy Evans, first-team assistant coach and the inheritor of Moran's sponge bag, cannot be ruled out, with Liverpool insisting they want to appoint from within. But the temptation to turn to Souness will be strong. Another former Anfield captain, he has shown at Rangers to have many of Dalglish's qualities: ruthless, courageous, resilient, and above all, successful. Backed by stupendous cash reserves, he has notched up 3 Scottish championships and the likelihood of a 4th by the end of this season. On top of that have come 5 Skull Cup finals, 4 wins, and 1 failure in the Scottish FA Cup. He has also gained significant experience of the European arena, which Liverpool hopes to embrace again next season after a 6-year absence. However, it would prove difficult for Liverpool to persuade Souness to leave Ibrox, should the Anfield board want him to replace his closest colleague and confidant. 2 years ago, Souness took a stake in Rangers, now believed to be worth around £600,000, and is also a director of the club, in which his friend, businessman David Murray, is owner-chairman. Toshak established his credentials by taking Swansea all the way to the First Division, and was rewarded with a spell at Real Madrid. He won the Spanish League with them, but failed to deliver the European title they covet. However, his standing abroad remains high, and his former club, Real Sociedad, quickly re-recruited him, but he would leap at the chance to manage his old club. Neil was a contender after Joe Fagan retired before the 1985 European Cup. When he was turned down, he moved to Bolton, taking them to and from the 4th Division, and a Wembley triumph in the Sherpavan Trophy. Image caption: Liverpool striker Ian Rush and manager Kenny Dalglish hold the FA Cup after Liverpool's victory over Everton in 1986. Meanwhile, Liverpool players were still reeling from the shock of Dalglish's announcement, and at first, yesterday, refused to talk about it as they entered the Epukiji, the Luton ground, by a back door and spent an hour practicing on the artificial surface that Dalglish dislikes. David Speedy, Dalglish's last, signing at £750,000 just a few weeks ago from Coventry, said, "I'm stunned. Gutted if you like. I just am, that's all." Striker Ian Rush said, "It's amazing." Source: Cork Examiner, February the 23rd, 1991.